everybody. Welcome to another episode of Star Row. Sorry for the break. Just had to get some things together, but I wanted to come up with some interesting content. So I did say in my first episode I'd have some guests, and I'm delighted to have a guest here with me today. This young man has done a lot, and I think he's got a lot of information, and I think he's got some wisdom that he's going to be able to share and help people grow. The summer's past us now. We're entering fall, and a lot of people had body goals for the summer, but body goals is not just for the summer. It should be an all year round long thing. And I think I got the perfect person who treats their body as an all year round project. I'm going to go get his accolades real quick because he's done a lot at the age of 22, if I'm not mistaken. He is a NASM certified personal trainer. He is a ISSA corrective exercise specialist, ISSA nutrition specialist. He's had over 2 years of experience as a personal trainer. He's a transformation coach, specializing in strength training, fat loss, athletic performance. Give it up for Elijah DePo Hernandez, everybody.
Thank you, Starro.
That's what's up, man. So how's the day been so far? How's the week been going? Just kind of break the ice a little bit before we get into the nitty gritty of what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I definitely take Saturdays really seriously because the amount of workload that goes on into the week is a lot. So it's Saturday. It's really nice outside. I feel good. I get to relax and be at home. Like, rest days are just really important to me. But throughout the whole week, I've been training clients, studying for school, and just, man, just consistent, this passion for what I'm doing is what keeps me going, and God. For sure. God is and Jesus is the only reason why I'm able to do any of this stuff. So I'm just enjoying this weekend. Excited to be here. A little chit chat. And hopefully, I mean, some of the things that we can go over today get to really connect with people as they gotta get to see me. I hope as like a board for any sort of direction that they need, and when it comes to their fitness or when it comes to their education, or if they're trying to look to help other people be more on top of their fitness goals or their lifestyle. I hope to be that person that can help teach and really think from other people's perspectives to bring us all closer together.
Awesome, man. So you're saying to me right now that it's Saturday and you're at home. So you don't have to be at the gym 7 days a week to have body goals. Is that correct?
No, you don't. But I was at the gym this morning training clients. So I mean, I was active. I was lifting, picking up weights. I mean, I'm doing something every day. I try to be in there about 5 days a week for my own workouts. And on the weekends, I like to do something active. Whether I literally just go for a walk. I got a nice spot outside my apartment. I just walk around in, or sometimes I'll get in a little weekend workout to pump out the arms, something like that. That's really it's
That's
every
cool,
day.
man. So, I mean, you kind of killed the tension, man. You know what I mean? I was trying to create some room for imperfection, for those who are trying to reach the mountain. But it's all good, man. Progress it takes time. But let's just start it that way, man. So what got Elijah into weightlifting in the first place, or bodybuilding, or just wanting to be into fitness?
So I really, really, really wanted to be good at basketball. That was the thing. I grew up playing basketball. I started like playing around like fifth, sixth grade, and I was okay. Like there was sometimes in the game where I would have like these powerful plays, and I would like make a hard layup against the defense, or against I played against my dad or something like that. And I played in middle school. I tried out in high school. Once I started trying out in high school, I started to find out like, okay, I thought I was coordinated, but I was never up to the conditioning level of these other basketball players. Like from early on, like running, I would be like I couldn't really breathe that well. So I started to pick up like on the weights, and I was like, oh shoot, like I'm actually like really good at this.
So you're saying you weren't just naturally like, good at everything, right? You had your weaknesses, right?
Dude, oh my gosh, like, man, if I could run, like, I was jealous of the kids that were on the basketball team that they were running track or like cross country, because I'm like, in my head, I was like, man, I know I'm better than this dude, but he can run way more than I can, bro. So that was what held me back, and it led me to picking up the weights. And I was like, oh, okay, like I can do this. a lot better than I can sustain a level of endurance. So that lifting weights started around sophomore, junior year is like I dabbled in it, maybe going like once or twice a week to the gym, but also still like trying to play basketball. I love basketball. I love watching basketball,
Who's your
but
favorite
yeah.
player, real quick? We don't have to dive too deep in it, but who's your favorite player of all time?
Okay. So that's when I was in high school and when middle school, that's when Steph Curry started to be like a baller. So I had, man, I think I had like maybe four pairs of Steph Curry shoes. That's when all the middle schoolers were trying to shoot threes and stuff like that.
Essentially, we're just gonna keep like keep it concise. You were trying to be the next Steph Curry, and that didn't look like that was gonna pan out.
Mm-mm, not at all.
Okay, so when did you think when did you start to see progress? Things like that. Just to kind of get into the nitty gritty.
I think it was senior year of high school was when I started really starting to see progress. That's when I started like squat, bench, and deadlift. I did taekwondo also from like ninth to 10th. I think a little bit of my junior year. So my legs were getting stronger. The reason why I got into taekwondo was for, self-defense purposes. My parents didn't want me to get beat up anymore in school, so they were like, "Okay, you're going to do this." So then my leg strength, it transferred over into the gym. So then I started getting a little ego. I was like, "Yeah, I can the amount of weight I could squat without being taught or deadlift or bench it was crazy. And I was starting to really be like, man, imagine like I've been doing this for months, a couple months. Like imagine what I could do if I just kept doing it, you know? So I started to get that feeling around senior year and I followed the plan that was in my head, man. I was
Excellent.
just how strong can I get?
Okay, that's really cool. So, and with that being said, like, what age is a good age to start bodybuilding? Not something that we have to get too deep into, but just with knowledge. By the way, for those of you who are listening, Eliza is currently pursuing his kinesiology degree at UCF. So he's a senior, so he'll always be finished. So he's not just some guy who just pumps iron and looks at himself in the mirror. He actually does have some background in this. So he's knowledgeable. What is a good age to start weightlifting? Because I feel like sometimes people feel like there's such thing as too young, there's too old. Like what do people need to know when they want to start?
Well, coming back to that, it's like I didn't pick an age and just go start weightlifting. I had a passion for working out and I had a passion for trying to just be good at something. Your can I don't know if we had like a little quality
Yeah,
issue.
yeah, you're a little glitch, but go ahead, continue.
Okay, you
I
can
can
hear
see
me?
you now. Yeah.
Okay, bet. Um, yeah, I think it was like really more of the passion behind it. Man, I was outside running. I think anybody should start doing something that they enjoy, even if they suck at it. That's what really led me. So I think, man, as soon as you're a teenager, as soon as you enter into middle school, it's going to be a confidence booster too. So you can start working out by maybe fifth, sixth grade. I was looking at the dudes in fifth, sixth grade because they would play baseball and they would play travel baseball, and they had way more friends, whatever. So by that time, elementary schools normally when people start working out. So it's then just wherever that passion takes you. These dudes end up being at the college level or they end up weightlifting or stuff like that. So the people around me really inspire me.
No, that's awesome. So, now that you've kind of been in the gym now for some time, right? You just discovered that, hey, I'm a great weightlifter. I got the strength, I might not have that fast twitch, but I definitely got that anabolic capability. You know what I'm saying? You figured it out. So when was it like, man, you know what? I'm tired of just getting gains for myself and looking in the mirror. Like, let me start helping other people achieve their goals. When did that like pop up in your mind? Like, when did that start?
Well, in reality, it didn't start like that. No, here's the thing. The way that I grew up, I had so much, but I always wanted what the freshest kid had. I wanted the fresh pair of shoes. I wanted this, I wanted that. I wanted to make money for myself because I come from a really big family of 9 people living in one house. I got a lot of siblings. My parents are great, but I wanted to start to make sure that I can financially take care of myself. So I was like, okay, cool. I like lifting and I like strength training. I'm actually really good at it. So I can make some money teaching people. And that effect can only get you so far. So then, man, now almost 3 years into the game, you really recognize yourself as a leader for a lot of these people. And man, I challenge anybody out there, and the real trainers know what's up. Like, you got to be at the gym Monday through Friday, 5 a.m. Like, if you're a real coach and you got stuff going on outside of the gym, that's eventually what has brought me to this point, man. Early days, man. Early, countless weeks on weeks on weeks. Because if you, man, it's been a grind, bro. It's been a grind, and now we're here. You know what I mean?
That's awesome, man. Let's talk about people coming to the gym, right? So now we kind of got a background on you, and why you got into this in the first place. Now you stuck with it, right? You went to the gym, you started lifting, and you stuck with it. I mean, what? It's been how many years? 7 years, 6 years? Or, I mean, 10 years? How
I
long
think
has
I've
it
been
been
listening
since
for going on 6 years now.
6 years? So a lot of people, as we already know, they have the New Year's resolution curse, right? They put it on their New Year's resolution, like, "Hey, this year I'm going to start going to the gym. I'm going to start chasing my goals." Now, obviously, you've been achieving your goals, many times, throughout your process. You've achieved some accolades in powerlifting, which we'll talk about later on in the video. But what can you say to the people? What do you think is causing people to start these New Year's resolutions and not follow through? And what do you think is a good way for people to approach the gym in order to improve their chances of sticking with it?
I can give you the most real answer. The most real that is the simplest thing. If you're around a bunch of people that drink and eat a lot of fast food and don't control their diet, you're gonna end up becoming one of them. Or it's about who you choose to hang around with. It's your choice. You choose to hang around with these people. If you have friends or if you don't have friends, it is at the end of the day your choice where you go. So if you I started I I started going to the gym with my dad, and he was the one who brought me up. It's not some like thing that it's just gonna come out of you with all this motivation. I started going with my dad. I started going with this dude I used to do taekwondo with. Then I started going with now who I've been living with for 2 years, my roommate, and we just butt heads all the time. There's always got to be some level of somebody trying to achieve the same goal around you. If not, you're gonna go into the gym, you're gonna be on this motivation high, but then you're gonna go home and your mom and dad don't really care about what they're eating, and your sister and brother don't really care that much, and your boyfriend really don't care that much. So now you're around a bunch of people who don't care.
So as the saying goes, if you're around four blank people, then you're the fifth one, correct? So that's kind of what seems like that's what you're saying. Like a life principle. Essentially, if you're gonna start going to the gym and you don't have that accountability group or people who are already doing it, it's gonna probably be a lot harder for you to stick with it. That's what it sounds like you're saying, right?
That's why people when they go to the gym, they start to make sometimes was the beautiful thing that happens is sometimes these people are alone and then they go to the gym and they meet other people that are like-minded and you're like, "Oh, hold up, this dude's actually cool. Let me get your Instagram, whatever, whatever." And now y'all boys, y'all go to the gym around the same time. Y'all kick it. You might end up hanging out outside.
Good. I mean, even though we're not ladies, I mean the ladies, they have their like, gym groups. I mean, there's some women gyms if I'm not mistaken.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I'm just throwing it out there because the gym can sometimes feel like a very masculine thing in its nature, just a guy thing. But for the ladies too, there's definitely room to meet other females and work out there too.
Yeah, it's a principle.
So you know what? Let's talk about Planet Fitness, right? We're not gonna. This is not a. We're not gonna criticize or anything. We're just gonna kind of give an honest take. And like I said, somebody who has a lot of bodybuilding experience. We obviously know the culture behind Planet Fitness is a very welcoming culture. They always preach that they're a no judgment zone when it comes to weightlifting. Now, if we got to be honest, right? It is a good price point for a lot of people. Is Planet Fitness, in your opinion, a great place to achieve your fitness goals, or do you think that the gym itself has a good mission, but it doesn't have a good outcome for a lot of people? What's your take? Because as a casual gym goer like myself, I went to Planet Fitness, but I only did that because at the time I could afford it. But then once I could afford more, I went to, Crunch.
Yeah.
So tell me your thoughts. Like, what are your thoughts on Planet
Yeah,
Fitness?
like, I don't even think I've worked out at a Planet Fitness, so I gotta put myself in a person's shoes that go to Planet Fitness. Let's say I go to Planet Fitness because I'm low on my budget, but I'm really trying to do this thing. Good. You're probably around a lot of other people who feel the same exact way, like, my budget is low, I'm not really super serious about this, but I'm gonna get my foot in the door." Great. Good entry level gym. It's got a lot of the things that you need. Now, I think the stigma that's around it is because of the people that primarily make up the group. Another principle that is important. It's the 80/20 principle. Gym memberships, if we to look at them as a whole, only 20% of the members actually end up going to the gym. 80% of the people have a gym membership, but they don't use it. So you're around a whole lot of people, once again, in this lower budget gym that half of more than half of the population doesn't even go. So I don't really have a problem with Planet Fitness. I don't think some of the equipment is like really the best. I know they're opening up a whole lot of new ones with newer equipment, but there was something I was about to get onto. But yeah, once you start like it's a good way to get your foot in the door. But then you're gonna start to see, like, if you really want more and you really want to, you're gonna notice the quality of what you're around. If you don't notice the quality of what you're around, you gotta really take a step back and be like, hold up, maybe there's actually other gyms, out there that I could, try out, and it make you feel better. That's why I've been at Crunch. I was at my first gym was a gym that was at the hospital. So actually, no, I started weightlifting in my garage at home. My dad had a barbell and stuff like that. So I was in the bottom tier of Planet Fitness.
Like rusty? Did it have that like rusty look on it?
And the bar's got it's got like these foam pads on it that are taped around it, and the bar is rusty. And we only got 25-pound plates, and they're rusty, but you better not drop it on your toe. That's all you really needed to know,
Call that I call that home gym edition. I call that home gym hood edition. That's what
bro.
I call that. Like if you ever go
You
ahead,
got
bro. Go
2
ahead.
25-pound dumbbells and maybe 4 25-pound plates and a bench press. That's all that's all we had,
Yeah.
and bro, there's no motivation in that. If that's your only thing and you've never have experience outside going to see watch people, then go out, go get your Fitness membership. I ended up then working out at the hospital gym that my dad worked for, which was Health First. And man, once again, a population, bro, of just a bunch of old people, a bunch of retired old people. And I'm like, man, this is like, it's cool because they got a basketball court. But as soon as crunches started to open up around my area, I was like, oh, really? What Crunch got? Crunch is huge. All right, I'm bet I'm going to Crunch, bro. So it was just something, I was young and just like I found something that I was actually good at. So now I wanted to expand on it, meet new people, see new people, be inspired to further. That's what further drove my passion.
No, that's what's up. And so no, that's great, man. So basically, like, surrounding yourself with the right people seems like to be the best recipe for success, right? With a lot of things in life, but it seems like what you're saying is for gym goers or for people getting into it, it seems like it's an ideal situation to find somebody who's basically further ahead in their journey and basically
True.
be inspired.
True.
Now, with that being said, like you're a personal trainer, right? Who is an ideal candidate for personal training, right? Because we literally just talked about the people who are maybe new and going to a Planet Fitness because maybe they're not as serious on their journey. But who do you think is like, hey, you would really benefit? Like, we're gonna talk about a candidate, and it's like this person right here, you would seriously benefit from some personal training.
That it that's a really interesting question because there's two sides to it. Number one, I can say that anybody should have a trainer. I've had several coaches who've worked with me on powerlifting, who've worked with me on corrective exercise. Anybody can have a trainer. The other part of it is how experienced is your trainer? Because in my first 3 months, I cannot point at I have no right to point at anybody and say, "You need a trainer," because there's things that I need to be trained on. And after gaining clients and losing so many clients, I've learned that, bro, I was not a good person for that person at that time. I was not a good coach for that person. I told her to eat way too little bit of calories, and that's why she can't lose weight. So I was technically at that time not a good coach for her. But now with more experience, I look back and I'm like, oh man, she was under eating. And I was technically not a good coach for her. So if it's about experience and can you seriously take on these clients' goals? Because at the end of the day, personal training is a business. Somebody's going to try to sell you something. So you have to really make sure that the two of you align on that interviewing process. But at the end of the day, everybody needs a coach.
Okay.
Everybody needs.
So you're saying that nobody's above coaching. So you're talking about like Simeon Panda or Chris Bumstead. I mean, I don't, I know these are like some of the big names in the fitness industry. So you're saying like anybody would benefit from a coach, right?
For sure, bro. They have coaches. C-Bum probably got like 2, 3 coaches. Panda's probably got 2, 3 coaches. LeBron, besides his basketball coach, got maybe 4 or 5 different coaches or 4 or 5 different therapists or something like that. So coaching is a whole thing. But it's about, okay, is what I'm looking for right now and is what this guide presenting me, do they align? If yes, then it's normally always a perfect match because you're always going to learn.
Awesome. Awesome. So now that we talked about that, you kind of already talked about it. What are some red flags in personal trainers? Because when you're going in there, right, you don't know much and you have this person, right? Let's say, okay, let's give them a handicap, right? The personal trainer, person is swole, whether a chick or a dude, they've got like a great physique. They just look like they just know what they're talking about. And, this person might not know that this is going to actually be a really bad investment, right? Because you just said that you were the
Yeah.
wrong coach for somebody at some point. What are some things that people need to be aware of? Because I think some people don't do personal training because they think that, it's not worth the investment, or maybe they've heard people where it's like, oh, it's a scam. What do you think is necessary for someone to look at for the red flags to say, this is not the trainer for me, or,
Yeah.
I need to find somebody else?
There's several things that can tell you whether if a person's not a good personal trainer. You should definitely look out for it, but not a lot of people are cognizant. Like they get tied up in that emotional bond of that immediate first session and then they just boom, go all in it. But at the same time, it's a slope, man. You can have a personal trainer who is not engaged in you whatsoever. Whatsoever.
What does that look like?
That man, that could be many different things. That can be they gotta reschedule sessions all the time and they gotta cancel. They didn't show up. Yo, your coach doesn't show up more. If your coach shows up or does not show up twice, like let's say within a month or something like that, or within whatever time frame of your goals and what you guys are working on, that's probably a dude you gotta stop. I mean, because it's gonna continue. The reschedules are gonna continue. If you
So if I go to the gym and the coach is constantly saying, "Hey, man,
yeah,
has something come up. Hey, just pick up a barbell real quick and just bang this out real quick."
yeah,
Is that
exactly. Number 2, your coach that leaves you with no plan, like you do the training session and then he's like, cool, boom, I'll see you next week. Okay, what about the next 7 days that I'm about to not see you for? This is a freaking lifestyle thing, bro. So your coach has to have a plan. You need to be constantly reminded of the plan. And your coach also needs to make sure that he's holding you to the best of his accountability can. All those things, accountability, making sure that you guys are getting to that goal together. And that's why this training stuff is so hard because it's a 24/7 gig. A lot of people they clock out of their jobs and they're done for the day. They don't really got to worry about work. Maybe respond to 1 or 2 texts. Coaching is different. I'm working Monday through technically Sunday, thinking about these people, thinking about their issues, thinking about ways that I can help them, responding to text messages every single day. I check my phone to find out like how many notifications I get. Number one, like number two is like you're getting contacted from the gym all the time. So back to your point, like there's a lot of things that you can look out for. If you haven't heard from your coach in like a week or two, dump your coach. I sometimes like let's say I go like a week without texting my clients. As soon as that week hits, I'm like, oh shoot, I messed up. Like I really got to make sure this person's on top of their stuff. because there's really disciplined people and then there's not disciplined people. And I am not at any level. I will never say that maybe it just wasn't right for them. No, you have the power. If I'm standing in front of you and I tell you enough times to pick up this cup of water, you'll end up picking it up because I'm there to influence you and encourage you. So your person's got to be there on point like as much as they can with respect to their own personal life, work, school, their own relationships. It's a big balance.
Okay, no, that's dope. I mean, so now that we talked about, okay, who's an ideal candidate, what's some red flags? How long is a good investment for personal training? Because I know you said everybody needs coaches, right? But
Mhm.
suppose like somebody's like, you know what, I want a trainer, but I don't think I need it forever. I just want to get a little bit of progress. Like, what's a good duration? What do you think a good amount of time is? Suppose like, and we're talking about somebody who's getting a good coach, they have a plan and they're following the plan day by day. So when the coach is not there, they're continuing to work out, they're continuing to do what they need to do. How much time do you think would that person need to invest in it to really see the results like pay off?
It's different for really everybody. You got, let's say, no shame to the ladies, but let's say you have moms coming in, they're like, oh, I want to lose this 15 pounds. And then they hire this meal prep company and they work with you for 3, 4 months and that's all they cared about was looking this certain way. Boom, go on about your day. Now I'm like, hey, great. We've achieved these results. Good. Now, what's going to make sure that you don't lose these results that we've worked so hard on maintaining? And then they're like, I don't know. Like, I really haven't really thought about that. And I'm like, yeah, you did really good in these last 3 months, but these last 2 years, you've done nada, not a dang thing. So, what's to make sure that you don't go back to that and you maintain these results that you work so hard for? That's the thing, maintenance, then teaching lifestyle. Hey, we have a really good formula. Your diet's on point, your water's on point. You got this motivation spark. Now, what's to say, hey, you can leave, but what's to say you don't gain all that weight back because you're not accountable like you've shown in the last 2 years? So let's stick together. Let's work on maintaining these level of results to keep you from falling back into that until you feel and I feel confident enough that, man, you good. I feel that we've done our job and you can do it on your own. So that's a year, 2 years. I don't think I've had clients that I started with at the current job that I'm at. I've been training people for over a year and a half. And I'm just so blessed that they keep coming back looking for leadership and then I'm able to provide it.
Oh, that's awesome, man. So now we got to talk about the gym influencer, right? Because now that we live in the age of social media, social media is everywhere. And with that, you create a lot of markets out of that, right? And one of the biggest markets that's taken off is gym influencer. I said Chris Bumstead earlier. I said Simeon Panda. I'm sure, there's a bunch of other guys who I haven't named who I've seen. Ashton Hall obviously became viral the other day, for all his videos, but he was he's a fitness guy. And even though I Show Speed, for example, even though I Show Speed he didn't start off as a, a fitness, he was just a streamer, but now he's like a streamer who's doing like all these sprints and even like sometimes you see these influencers putting like workouts on Instagram shorts. So like, hey, if you do this workout, like, however many times, I promise you'll get these results. Like, is that really a good guide? Because I know for a fact there's some people going to the gym and they're like, I don't need a trainer because if I literally just watch dudes' videos or homegirls' videos,
Yeah.
these like, workout routines, like I'm gonna start seeing results. Like, is that really real or is that like a little bit of fantasy? Like, what do you think? I mean, these people, they have a career based off of this stuff. So I don't know. You tell me, I don't know.
Influencers, like, they're there for a lot of reasons, but think about it like this, like, it's all short form content. At the end of the day, it's gonna be short form content. Your dude is not posting more than 30 minutes of a workout. So all these I've been at points too where like I will watch these fitness influencers too to just get me hyped for my next workout. Boom. Maybe because that's because I didn't have anybody around me pouring in that level of accountability or support. So, man, I was able to find it through some other people, and that got me through some days. And that's going to get a lot of people through a lot of days. But the whole point I'm trying to make is that it's only like short form. Like this one video is not going to change your life. What's going to change your life is these consecutive stacking days, truly seeing results and counting those results, not short form content. It's not going to get you anywhere. We need more of a consistent basis. And you going and doing your favorite influencers workout, it's not going to happen all the time, bro. It's not.
Man, I gotta delete that men's health video by Michael B. Jordan now. Killed me, man.
Everybody, every dude got like a Michael B. Jordan's workout for Creed thing in their watch later on YouTube.
What did you think about that, by the way? I mean, like, right? No disrespect. Just like honestly, since you've been in this game, I'm sure you've seen dudes, who take stuff or whatever or natural, because there is natural bodybuilding. And for those of you who don't know, there is the bodybuilding category where when they do these like Mr. Olympia competitions, there's the bodybuilding that's most talked about is not natural, but there is another division of bodybuilding that is natural, meaning that there are guys who don't take any supplements and they're just naturally building their physique. So, like when you see these like celebrity workouts, right? Because forget about the gym influencers for a second. We're seeing guys like Chris Hemsworth, every time he gets ready to do Thor, he comes out with arms like, they're like 3 times the size of his body. I mean, Michael B. Jordan, you just mentioned Creed. Jonathan Majors, did it for Creed 3, and now he had that movie called Magazine Dreams. I mean, we're even seeing the celebrity trainer, take a step up. How natural, like The Rock, right? Like, look at The Rock. The Rock literally just.
Not natural. It's not natural. He's like 50 years old and not natural, bro. Like, I mean, it's all hormones. If we're having a conversation about should we like look up to these people who are enhanced or should we not, uh, there's a lot of good that can come out from it, and then there's a lot of like misconception that we can have. The good is that these people can motivate us, like encourage us to have conversations, have you talk to our friends, like, dang, bro, like this dude really got jacked for this movie. Like I want to get like that. But at the same time, if we hold that as our highest image, it is so unreasonable to the population. They are one person and billions of people. And we've hyper fixated on this one person and billions of people with a different lifestyle than us, and that becomes unhealthy. But they are good for motivation, they have a lot of good.
Okay, for sure. So, like, let's talk about, I'm glad you said that, right? You start, talking about having these images, right? Body positivity is something that has been very relevant in our society now for within the last decade. Now, me personally, right? Just giving my take on it. I think body positivity has some good side notes to it, right? Because not all of us are built the same. Some people are skinnier than others. Some people are bigger than others. I'm not trying to say that I promote obesity in any way, shape, or form, but we do have all different, body types, right?
Uh-huh.
And do you think like some people are caught up in the idea that, hey, if I'm going to get into fitness, like I have to look like a certain way in order to be perceived as fit? Because like, you know, for example, there's a lot of things that are crazy, like John Jones, actually, crazy enough, his brother, Arthur Jones, former Baltimore Ravens Super Bowl winner, he actually just died the other day at 39. We have many. I'm just using that because that was recently. I'm not saying I know what the cause of his death was, right? Maybe it was a freak accident or something, but we definitely can see a correlation that sometimes just because somebody may look a certain way, does that necessarily mean that they're healthy inside? And is this body positivity thing got some good arguments? What's your take on it? Like, are too many people concerned about looks and stuff, or what's the deal with that?
I think I'm about to smash this whole body positivity thing. I mean, the body positivity, most of the time you see it, is somebody that is overweight and wants to be accepted for being
Bro, like,
overweight. There is no law saying that you should ever be unaccepted. If somebody's making fun of you and just crushing you for just being overweight and not helping you, screw that person. That is that is not somebody you want to be around. That's terrible. We grow up like uh always trying to push our insecurity onto somebody else. And when people have a bad physical representation of themselves, It's easier for other people to go ahead and push that insecurity onto them. But yo, when you start going ahead and making it like accept me as I am, and obviously I'm living an unhealthy lifestyle, but I'm a super happy person and I'm just so positive and you should accept this. Now you're not taking accountability,
Seriously, all those good mukbang videos, you gotta cut back on those mukbang videos. The people who
bro.
be eating them like ginormous things of food, TikTok and stuff.
If anybody like takes anything from this, go on Instagram and look up plus size park hoppers. These are people who are having the time of their lives at like Disney World and Epcot. And honestly, they look like they're having a bunch of fun. They're eating a bunch of food, but they are overweight and unhealthy, and everybody is destroying them in their comments. But they love that happy lifestyle. It's good for them. It's positive for them. So why take it away from them? Um, it's to each their own, bro.
But I guess, to make it more niche, do you think like does healthier always mean that just because I'm healthier, I'm going to look a certain way, or do you think people should be more grateful for internal health rather than, I guess, perception from the outside? Do you get what I'm trying to say? Because I think some people are discouraged by the idea, like, oh, I want to have these size shoulders or I want these size legs. Because like plastic surgery, for example, right? Plastic surgery would not exist if people did not have a certain view of how they, want to be perceived. And do you think that if people were to detach themselves from a certain physical outcome, they would be more able to just, go along with the process and just accept what comes their way kind of thing?
Check this out. There's a principle in kinesiology that we use. It's called SAID. SAID stands for specific adaptations from imposed demand, basically saying that our body can respond to any imposed force or any demand that is placed upon it, except for neurological tissue, brain tissue. That being said, if you're walking around just showing clearly that you have imposed no demand, you've done nothing for what your body is capable of doing, the principle states anything but neurological tissue. If you were walking around and just nothing, you've never shown an ounce of demand upon your body, then you're not treating your body right, man. You're just wasting it and killing it. They're killing your body, bro. That's all. That's all. You know?
Okay. No, fair enough. I mean, because it is a thing. I definitely know it's a topic that people discuss. So I was just curious to get your take on it. So Gen Z, let's talk about Gen Z. Gen Z is an interesting generation. There's a lot of things going on with Gen Z right now. I'm kind of somewhere in between the millennial Gen Z bridge, but someone your age, you're definitely a Gen Z person. You're a Gen Z trainer. What do you see Gen Z's view on fitness as, and how does it compare, maybe to other generations? Because of course, if you're in kinesiology and you're into bodybuilding, I'm sure you've studied other areas of fitness, like the golden age of bodybuilding, the Mike Mencers, and then you got the Ronnie Colemans, and I forgot the other dude that used to always compete with Ronnie Coleman, but they were like always going back and forth. To again, we just talked about Chris Bumstead already, but I'm trying to throw out Chris Bumstead's name already. But anyways, the point is like what do you think Gen Z's view on fitness is, and where do you think they're seeing things better, or what's yeah, go into
What do
that.
you think?
I don't really know, right? Because I feel like we've seen some stuff, right, where Gen Z, for example, I think they don't consume as much alcohol, right, as previous generations. I don't
I don't
have
believe
the word for word study. But apparently they say Gen Z does not partake in like, as much like alcohol as older generations did. But at the same time, I don't know what the rates for obesity are, right? People are in a debacle about whether or not this country is healthy or not. And, obviously, what do you say?
about a third of the
Uh,
population.
okay. So do you think that Gen Z has a better approach, or do you think that like, yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, since you're actually in that, population, and that, you're currently in college right now and you're seeing like a lot of the youth,
Oh my
how
god.
do you think this future direction for fitness is going to, what do you, based on what you're seeing from Gen Z right now?
Man, it's really bad. Man, this became fitness has become just like this way. I think in a lot of people's eyes now that the gym is so popular that I can look however I want and that's gonna bring me to my goal. But in reality, you're not healthy. It's like Thor in Thor 4, which is Love and Thunder. After Endgame,
Hmm.
basically, he went from in Endgame, he was fat, and then in Thor: Love and Thunder, he got fit again.
Yeah.
But the end of the day, he was still lost, and he was like, "Oh, I just there was this hole that needed to be filled." That's what everybody I think in Gen Z looks like right now. I don't think any of like I think on a physical level, there are a lot of healthy kids out there, but they're really struggling mentally because of social media and because of advertisements and business, but they look great, you know?
Gotcha. So you're thinking like it almost sounds like you're saying like maybe just like more of a mental focus rather than the physical.
I think we are in like the biggest mental warfare of any generation or anything like that.
Okay. No, that's honest. That's honest. I appreciate that. Um, so now, let's talk about, the future of bodybuilding. What do you see just in general with the sport, with the social media? You've actually been very humble. You haven't brought up any of your medals that you won in powerlifting because that's a big deal. I mean, not everybody can walk around and say that they've competed in a weightlifting, competition and medaled. Just talk about that a little bit, and talk about what's like based on those achievements, when you achieve them and, where you're planning to, what are you planning to use those achievements to fuel you for later on?
I have like a list of like some of the stuff that I wanted to like bring up for this. Do you mind if I grab it?
Yeah, sure.
Guys. I've powerlifted. Powerlifting was great. Powerlifting was something I was able to do because I had a lot of time. I was in school, not working, and just weightlifting, funded by my parents. Powerlifting can't really happen when you're trying to balance work, school, relationships, and your own health, unless you are man top 0.001%, which I am not. But powerlifting, man, was the like one of the greatest things. Just every week following these 24, 36 week plans designed by your coach. There's a large massive amounts of science that goes in behind it, which is what I'm studying. But right now I don't get to do it as much because of the demand it requires of taking care of yourself. But I got second place at the state champ level in 2023 at my first competition. I could have won that, but I was very happy with second place. They drug tested me. I thought that was a really big flex. And then it came back negative, and my parents were happy. They're like, ah. But yeah, powerlifting was really fun, man. It was a really good thing. It's not something that everybody can just fit into their lives depending on how busy you are, but it is a goal that you can reach for if you have the time for, man.
Awesome. So yeah, just I guess what's your tips now for people who want to get into bodybuilding? Um, or any motivational points that you could share, anything like that.
I'm gonna smash this one again too. Motivation is not a it is not a thing. Uh it it is so short term. I could be motivated right now to go outside and look, but it is my choice at the end of the day if I actually go up ahead and do that. And I think this is a really big Gen Z thing. A lot of us, like myself included, are dealing with just the mental portion of life. I mean, I'm in my early 20s right now, and it's hitting harder than ever. Uh, but there's so much good that's coming out from it, and I'm performing at a high level. So my tips for anybody is to, like I said earlier, find like-minded people and you gotta really just give up. You gotta put your hands in the air and get rid of everything that's kind of holding you back and trust that you're going to make it because you will. If you go ahead and throw all those snacks out, if you go ahead and man, just go ahead and get rid of like you stop smoking weed and you just shoot higher, you're gonna make it there because those things we know are holding us back. So if you can just get rid of what's holding you back and trust that by getting rid of this thing, you're going to receive a better outcome, then you will receive that better outcome most of the time. You know,
Awesome. Awesome.
it's philosophical, but it's really not. Like we have things that we know that are holding us back. And you get around people that are going to hold you accountable for those things, get rid of them, and then reap the benefits.
Cool. Cool. All right, man. No, so I appreciate you, man. I just want to thank you for your time again. I think you shared a lot of, good little nuggets there. I'm gonna put the link to your Instagram. Do you want to tell the people where you are, just where you're located, where you train, and if you're currently accepting clients, all that other stuff?
I train at Crunch Winter Springs. It is in Winter Springs, kind of a little north of Orlando, north of UCF. So any UCF goers that don't want to go to the one by UCF, come over to Winter Springs. You can follow me on Instagram. My handle is Elijah D Fit. Follow me on there. Sometimes I have people DM me about training and we get you signed up right from there. We get to go ahead and meet. Sometimes I don't respond to messages or DMs that well because I'm always just there's such a big influx, but I always try my best to get to those people that really need help. Other than that, bro, that's really what I got.
Awesome. So thank you again. Thank you again, everybody, for listening. This is Elijah DePaul Hernandez. This is Star Row. I hope you guys have gained some valuable insight. And if you have, please like, share, and subscribe. And share this video with anybody who would benefit from it. Thank you, guys. Have a wonderful rest of your day.